Hello and welcome, you awesome true art believers. I hope you're doing well tonight. This is Pearson. I am the number one live art streamer in the world, and you're watching 5 Days of Drawing. Today is day 497, past 400, and we're almost up to 500. Pretty soon, we're going to be going to 600, 700, 700, 800, 900, and 1,000 hundo. Would you even be 1,000 hundo? Anyways, let's get started, shall we? Let's see here. I'm having some technical difficulties right now. Let's see. Are we it looks like we're lagging, man. It looks like we're lagging right now. Connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging in. All right, everyone. I'm totally sorry. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to keep up my live streams like this because we are having some issues today. One of the things I'm having is, first off, let's get some music in here. Let's get the music background here. First off is I have yet to connect my computer directly into the router, and because of that, we're having a little bit of a lagging issue. Uh, I tried to mitigate that by turning off the computer, or turning off my Wi-Fi on my phone, and hope that that would mitigate that. But I don't think it's working out too well. So we're going to start out with some really some two minute drawings, just something to kind of get started here. I'm going to start out with a like rectangular head, draw a line for a kind of part of the neck, another line for the edge of the neck, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to draw a kind of some shapes to kind of represent the torso here, and then just some simple shapes to kind of represent the torso. I'm not going to get the legs, or I'm going to get very little of them, because this is my first go at this today. I'm running a little bit. I'm running a little bit behind. I'm kind of lagging. Actually, I really am lagging in more than one way. Not just the computer way, also the I need to connect this, like, mentally I'm lagging. I'm just out of it. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you. Every day is a day that I'm kind of lagging of sorts. And the later the day, the later that I do these live streams, the more I tend to stumble through, them, and which kind of sucks. Actually, it really does suck, because it's not always like this. It's not always been like this, but it's just how it is. So usually near the end of the day, I'm kind of running on like E. And I think a lot of us kind of run on E anyways, right? So that was an okay 2-minute gesture drawing. We're going to do another one here. Starting out with the head. I'm making a line to kind of indicate how I see the angle of that head. And as I kind of said, kind of mentally feeling low. So we're just going to struggle for the first 30 minutes or so. Figure's kind of looking down. Let's see what we can do here. Her neck is doing something like this. And then going to capture the angle of like the collarbone. And then I'm going to make 2 lines to kind of capture how I see the torso and the hips. So it's actually, she's kind of like doing some extreme angles here, so you're not going to get a lot here. And I'm going to draw some lines just to kind of show how I see the arms, like this, and at the angle of her hand. Let's go ahead and draw some sort of form for the hips, or part of like a box form for the hips, and then another box form for the torso here. And then draw like something to kind of indicate how I see the direction of the legs here. So running low on time, probably have about like 20 seconds left, which really gives me not much to do. So I'm gonna just add a little bit of like meat on the torso, just enough to kind of start it, but I'm not really going to get much. I already know this. Right, so there's that. And that's all this really is. These drawings are supposed to be 2 minutes long, and then I'm going to go graduate from a 2-minute to a 5-minute. Probably going to do about 3 of them, or 2 to 3. It all depends how I feel. It's kind of late. So, as always, you want to start with the head. And you don't have to always draw. Some people will start with like an oval head like this. You don't have to do that. I find that it's been very easy for me to kind of do like a blocky head at first, and then I can always dial the details in later. And I'm going to draw a line from where I kind of see her ear to kind of form her neck. This is a kind of like a back pose, so you're seeing roughly like you're seeing her. Her head's like looking back at you, but it's a back pose. So you really don't see, it's not a face forward pose. I'm looking at the body strictly in a backwards angle. If that makes any sense. I'm kind of trying to articulate what I'm thinking at the same time. All right, something like that. This is kind of a weird pose for me. She's wearing like a corset, so she's like really, really like these exaggerated like angles. So I'm probably going to exaggerate them here. And then her hips kind of tilts in. So right now, I'm just drawing these kind of like very simplistic shapes just to kind of warm up, because I know I'm not going to get a lot done in 2 minutes. What the heck is this? What the heck is this? Oh my gosh. Oh man, I wish I could show these photos. It's basically I don't know how to draw this. It's a photo of a chick basically getting a wedgie. She's getting an atomic wedgie. If that makes any sense. For real, she's getting an atomic wedgie, and her arms are kind of going off the page here, of which I may or may not be able to draw. It's kind of not a difficult pose, but like for 2 minutes, I have not a lot of time to kind of, I don't know, define things. I'm not lying. She's getting an atomic wedgie. So she's got this like weird hook here. With some chains. These are supposed to be chains, but they're not. I'm not gonna draw those chains. Oh boy. I mean, I got the ability to draw a lot of this without having to do a lot of the understructure part, but I'm trying to practice a lot of the practice defining those, creating those like forms. So starting out with the head, starting out with the torso. So that's what I've been trying to do, is I'm trying to kind of practice that strategy every time. So every time when you do a figure, you want to start with the head, unless the head is obstructed. So this one's starting out with the head, right? Kind of treat it more like a block, and then draw a line from where you think the ear is to basically kind of like the pit of the neck, and that's where you kind of go from there. And then you draw these angles of where you think the basically the clavicle, or the collarbone, the clavicle. Is it the same thing? I'm not too sure about that. And then from there you kind of decide the angle of the torso, and it intersects into the pelvis, into the pubic bone area, and you can always do like a block type form for the this one's kind of weird because she's I don't know, her pelvis is kind of tilted in a little bit. And then from there you maybe want to kind of just define like a block structure for the torso after you get the angle. And depending on what kind of information you have, like right here, her arm is kind of doing like a boring arm pose. So I really don't want to define that. I think from this point and the amount of time I have, I'm just going to add a few little points here, and then kind of add a little bit more meat to the hips and the waist area. Then I'm going to work on this one a little bit more. And then I'm going to go ahead and move to a 5-minute pose. So we're just going to add a few things. We're going to add some of her breast there, and then maybe add the arm as a kind of like a cylinder, I guess. Probably could add a little bit more of weight here. And then kind of tilt this up like that. She's looking upwards, but I don't think I'll have time to kind of get that in there. And we're going to move this here. It's kind of an awkward pose because her leg, this leg is, I don't think I gave her enough like fat tissue on her butt area. So like this pelvis is pushing inwards, but her leg right here is sweeping. It's kind of sweeping back. So I think that looks a little bit more right. I probably made her arms a little big, or maybe not. I don't know. It's probably like the insertion point is a little bit. It might be a mixture between the arms, the torso being, the whole area right here being too big, and her head being too small. So I think these proportions are starting to normalize, but my head, the size of the head is too small, and the neck could be I could add a little bit more to the neck. But that's all I'm going to do to that drawing for right now. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a couple 5-minute drawings to see where that lands us. Oh, well, we'll skip that one. I'm looking for yeah, we'll do this one. I don't really like doing poses that have like accessories. So I'm going to draw a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. And we're going to kind of do a little quick movement here. You're going to see me do like an S form. And that's kind of like the angle that I feel that her body's making. You know? And let's move this a little bit here. Press B. And right now she... There we go. Okay. So she's looking down the... I can't tell. I think her collarbone is something like this. And then her torso's doing something like this. So let's go ahead and let's just kind of make it feel a little bit more. We're gonna like skip a few steps. We're gonna try to skip a few steps, see how that works out for me. And not really do a lot of the structuring that you normally see me do. And we're just gonna kind of add more direct lines on this one. Let's see how it pans out. Okay. And what's interesting about this, she's got like a shield. With like, yeah, she's got like a shield basically that really takes up this whole area. So I'm not really miffing it. Like this. Okay. Ooh, this is not that good. I'm not feeling too comfortable with this one. Yeah, the reason why I'm not feeling too comfortable is this head needs to be moved to the right. Everything needs to be moved to the right, and I don't have the kind of time to kind of make those corrections. So we're just going to kind of keep it like that. Oh yeah, I don't have a lot of time anyways. Oh wow. This is what happens when you have like props. And the other leg, I don't know, it kind of swings out like this. And then her arm. As I said, she's got like props, so she has like a spear. Oops. I don't know. I'm not doing a good job. Spear's coming up. Something like that. Anyways, that's what happens when you have like props and like clothing. You got all these other things you got to deal with. It's not a good idea to do a 5-minute drawing like that. That wasn't bad though. It wasn't great. I'm not going to be bragging about it, you know. Oh, okay. So we got 2 more to do. Okay, let's go a little bit slower. Okay, the head. draw a kind of like a box for the head. Why not? You know, and you can think about drawing them as a box. Is it makes things kind of easier, or at least for me, because you can always like tighten them up, add those features later on. You know. So I can't see her clavicle because her arm literally is covering up that area. Okay. And her arm is kind of, there you go. It's farther back. It's far back. I think something like that. And we're going to draw a line to kind of simple, like form the lat area in the shoulder, because her shoulder kind of rounds out, moves down like this. Maybe I made her shoulders a little bit beefier than they really are. I often do that to kind of, it's easier to kind of exaggerate a little bit. It makes forms a little bit more digestible when you're drawing from life. And so you got the torso here. And then let's get the breast in. Make some marks for like how I see like the nose, and just a simple little marks for the nose and the mouth. Nothing too dramatic. Okay, her hip kind of pokes out like that, and like that. At the very least, her head, I feel like I made her head too small. Obviously, her head is way too small, and certain things I've been noticing, some habits I've been noticing, I need to kind of, I really need to correct a little bit. And I think if I were to draw the entire figure on the on the picture frame in the format that I have, I'd probably notice these proportional errors that I'm kind of doing at the time. And it's hard to tell when you're doing it during the time that you're doing it, you know? You don't notice until afterwards. So I feel like I'm drawing the heads a little too small, and that's leading to some weird, just some weird proportional things that are occurring in the drawing. Like, I don't think I did this area right. I think this whole area needs to be trimmed down. And I'm going to do one more. As soon as I find one more that I feel like I can draw decently. I noticed that when I skip a bunch, I get to some figures that I haven't done before because I'm using a website that that goes through a bunch of random photos, but like it feels like the ones that I'm using or the photos that I'm using are kind of like the ones that are like in the front end of all the photos that are available. So I never really get to a lot of variety because even though they're random, I feel like they only do random ones uh, within a certain range of photos that they have available. If that makes any sense. So we're just gonna have the clavicle here, kind of determine the angle of the torso a little bit, and then maybe like the angle of like the pit of the belly button or something like that. That will kind of we're gonna swing into like the pelvis. Um, she's shifting a lot of her weight on one edge of her hips, one edge of her hip. And so we're going to use that information to kind of guide us here. Let's see, going to do a block for the torso. Something like this, I guess. And then I can't really see what's happening right here because it's a very dark photo. So we got to kind of make it up. Let's see here. So we're just going to kind of... I really think I should have made her neck longer. So I'm kind of drawing a lot of the proportions kind of angularly. I feel that kind of helps me sometimes when I'm rendering or when I'm modeling the form. I feel it looks like this arm is kind of pivoted backwards. It's hard to tell. Like she's kind of twisting her torso a little bit. And that's the thing about these photos is like it's hard to really see what's happening. Like you can if you're really an expert, if you're an expert, right, then it makes a lot of difference. And I'm my knowledge is far from expert level. Like I understand it a little bit, but it definitely could be better. And then her other arm is kind of tilted down like this. Maybe kind of making just like little blocky shapes that kind of making like an action figure at this point where you're just kind of blocking out forms. that you can define a little bit more thoroughly later on. Like, I don't know where her shoulder is at here. I think it might be kind of popping up here. And she's kind of tilting her arm back, maybe. Because I feel like her arm's behind her hip here. Or maybe not. I don't know. It's either it might be behind. It might be in front of. We're going to work on that one a little bit more and see. I'm going to try to work on it. It's hard to tell what's happening with this arm, so I'm just going to kind of, yeah, kind of move this here. And then her hand kind of comes up front here. I don't know. That's not that good. As you can see, this whole thing's kind of, doesn't feel natural because I need to kind of made things a little bit larger than they really are. And the reason why is because there's this area of shadow here that I can't tell where the arm begins and where the background ends or begins. The arm ends and where the background begins because it's kind of like all in cast shadow. You know, and that's one of the things about using photos. If you can't tell where the forms begin and end, it makes it very difficult. To kind of draw the figure. So I think I'm coming up on the end of my drawing today. Drawing session. I think that's it for the day. Kind of just cut that in like here. Yeah. So I think that's it for the day. I got to get going. Just want to say thank you so much for watching today's live art stream. This is Pearson. I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again some other time. Take care, and keep on drawing, my friends. Cheers.